Hey everybody, Jay Schlansky here from the Fifth Trooper Network. I just want to take a moment to thank you for checking out this show. Did you know that over at thefifthtrooper.com we have tons of other content, including blogs, other podcasts, all kinds of stuff. In addition, if you want access to exclusive content, you can join us on patreon.com/thefifthtrooper and join at any level and you'll get access to exclusive blog articles, access to our private Discord, and much more. So please check us out, and thank you so much for all your support.
Welcome to the Fifth Trooper Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fifth Trooper Podcast Thanksgiving edition.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah. It's me, Jay Schlansky, and joined by Tim Hammond.
Hello.
I'm waiting for it's got to happen organically. Like, you're gonna get a nickname here soon. And it just hasn't come yet. But like whenever I do the intros, you know, back when it was Evan and I, it was Evan the Raccoon Bullris, right? And so like I always want to put something in between your names, but you just haven't really earned anything yet. So
that's fair.
We'll get you there. Don't worry about it, buddy.
I was in college. I was Tim the Hurricane Hannon, so it was good times. There you go.
Okay.
I don't know if that
it doesn't really apply here, but I'll come up with something.
That's fine.
If you're listening to us,
Okay.
I don't know if you're listening to us today because today the release day is Thanksgiving. Maybe overseas you are, or maybe we're like your football game. As some of us watch football games on Thanksgiving, maybe you don't, and this is your football.
Please
game.
Put this on in your house and then explain it to your family
in your living room. Yeah,
yes,
while
on
you
the
guys
TV.
are getting ready for Thanksgiving. Yeah,
like you need to actually change it from the football game to this.
Yeah.
And then and then please record the reactions for
right. Or if you're a gentleman listening to this and your partner is watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, like switch over to this in the middle of it. You know,
Hold on, I like the parade. I like a good parade. I've been there.
I was just going with like the cliche, like.
Oh, that's fair.
Sorry.
You're
right.
And
if you're a guy and you like the Macy's Day Parade, I was just doing the like every remember the old commercial? I guess they don't do those commercials anymore, but like the old like commercials where it would be like they fighting over who's watching the football or the parade, and then the wife comes in and she changes it back to the parade, and then the husband comes in and then the kids turn it to a cartoon or something. Like it's all over
I don't remember that, Jay. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
there was some commercial that had that. I just remember that like around like when I was a kid around the holidays. It's a very 80s, 90s.
How long until we get a Legion float going down Macy's Day?
Oh, interesting.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We never know.
We'll
take
so.
Star Wars ones for right now.
Yeah, Star Wars is good.
Everyone that sees it would just go, oh, it's Star Wars, which is fair.
Yeah, I think Lorcana is more likely to get a float before we get one.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of Lorcana, you got new stuff that came out this past weekend for local stores. At least not for your big name stores, but for locals. I know a lot of local stores around here were doing it really like controlled releases because they knew that. I know it's been discussed like via the official social medias and everything that Wave 3 they'll have plenty in stock for, but they said it was kind of like too late for Wave 2 because they were already shipping back when they realized the issues. And then they're reprinting Wave 1. But anyway, so I know what's it called? Rise of the Floodborn. So it's been really cool. We could have a whole half-hour deep diving on all the cool abilities they have, but it really feels like every color does something a little bit different now, which is really nice because obviously you can blend them all together. And so it's really nice that you can really do whatever you want with almost whatever colors you want. Which is cool.
I read an article, I don't know if it was Polygon, maybe Polygon. I don't remember who, but they said that Floodborne felt not like maybe it's IGN, but not a second set, but the second half of the first set. That's what they said. That's how it felt.
Agreed.
Like it. Yeah. Okay.
I agree. Yeah. There's a lot of things that when you take chapter 2, or I'm just going to keep calling it chapter 2 because it's easier than calling it Floodborne. So chapter 2 with chapter 1, there's just so many combos that open up and you're like, oh, this was it. Like you were so close with chapter 1, and then now there's like a couple of abilities. Like I was The other day we have a local league, right? And that's actually one of the ways they release product was everyone in the league got a chance to get product first because they know you're going to play with it. And I was playing, and it was just a deck I threw together last minute because I was busy. I didn't have time to really think about it. I was just like 60 cards, Amethyst Steel, bunch of new stuff, bada bing, here we go. And I inadvertently put in a combo of it's purple. Actually, I have this is a good little promo here. I have a enchanted purple Arthur who lets you, I'll read it for those that are curious. Whenever this character quests, you can return another chosen character of yours to your hand to gain 2 lore. He's already worth 1 lore. So basically you're questing with him, and if you return something to your hand, you're getting 3 lore every time.
Yeah.
So I would return Captain Hook to my hand,
and
then I would play Captain Hook, who then summons your fire the cannons directly from your discard, and then I would play that. So basically every turn I was dealing 2 damage, not for free, but like the machine was up and running. So I just was boom, 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 boom. And it was just I lost, but barely. Like it was super gross.
Yeah, they did
with that.
I mean, I had my doubts because listen, Ravensburger, they have some stuff, Villainous was good, and they have, but most of the stuff that they do is like kiddie games. And so when I heard this was coming out, I definitely had my reservations, but after playing it a bunch, it's very much like Magic, and I think it's really really good. Like we'll see how the balance holds up, and we'll see how they treat competitive and stuff, but I think if they do well, they'll definitely. And I mean, the other thing, a little story here. So when it first came out, I went to the Walmart that's in my town, which isn't, like 10 minutes from here. But then I was like, oh, we were like a couple days later, we were somewhere else, like 40 minutes away. And I was like, oh, I'll check this Walmart, while I'm here. And I go and there's a bunch of people there. And I'm like, what's going on? And so like I go over, and it's the people stocking the shelves. And then there's another younger woman just kind of standing there talking, and I come up, and it's an older couple, and they're like, oh, hey, how are you? Can we help you find something? Because they were like tearing everything down, putting new stuff up. I go, yeah, I'm looking for a Lorcana. And they just kind of laughed at me, which was fine.
That's fair.
And then the young girl started talking to me. Young, I say young, she was probably 30s. And so she started talking to me, but made it seem like she worked with them. And then like at some point I got to the point where it found out she doesn't work with them, that she is just a Disney fanatic that lives 2.5 hours away from that location. And basically she goes to go do something else, and the older couple go, yeah, she follows us to every store on days we deliver, because it's not like one pile that they're stocking from. It's every store has a certain quantity that they get. And so like the next store may have that next quantity, but they're not allowed to talk about it until they get there, and they put. And then the girl and then the girl came back, and then she told me she did it, like she wasn't hiding it. And she's like, I go, oh, so you know them? And she's like, yeah, I follow them around when they're doing their things on. And I was like, oh my God. And she goes, yeah, and I know Chip too. And I was like, who's Chip? And she's like, I don't know if that was the name. I honestly was barely holding it together mentally at this point. But she goes, oh, that's the guy that does all the targets in the New York area. And I go, the New York area? I go, where are you from? And she told me, and it's literally 2.5 hours from Syracuse, like an hour from you. And then and I was just like, so what do you just drive out here? She goes, yeah, Thursdays are the central New York area, so I just go and I do all this. And then what'd she say, Wednesdays were like the Rochester area, so she had all the Walmarts, and like I was just like, oh my God.
Gosh.
And I'm like, do you like, are you into gaming? Did you play Magic? Like, now I'm curious. Now I'm in. I've invested enough time and mental capacity towards this, so now I need all the answers, right? Rachel always laughs at me because she's like, you're either not interested in something at all, or you're
Or
so
hyperfixated.
interested, it's like you're obsessed with it. And I said, yeah.
How's that undiagnosed ADHD going for you?
I go, as soon as something triggers my attention,
Yeah,
it's like, all right,
that's
well,
right.
you now have my attention, so
Yeah.
let's go. So she basically wasn't a gamer, never played a game before, just loves Disney and wanted the whole collection. And I was
Oh, so
just
she
like,
was collecting them though. She wasn't scalping them.
no, she's not even playing them. She's just filling up a binder.
Hey man, like if that's what floats your boat, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting rich off it, so
Well, do
whatever.
you
Like
remember
it's
that
fine.
card game that they had at the parks where you would go to the different stations and it would scan and you would fight wizards and like
Oh my
you would
gosh.
fight the different enemies,
Yeah, it feels like a
villains
lifetime ago, but
throughout. I
yeah,
think it was
yeah.
Magic Kingdom that had it. And so
Yes.
you
Yeah.
basically you got this deck of cards and they all have like different ability. It's like kind of like an early version of Lorcana, right? But it only
Sure, yeah.
worked, and you would go to these interactives, they'd scan the card at the interactive, and then you
Yeah.
would start a battle. So you would pick your hero, you'd start a battle against a villain, and then you would scan your like power up cards and stuff to like
Yes.
defeat the villain. And then you would get a credit for defeating the villain, and you would go back and it would get you more cards. And like, so it was like,
Yes.
anyways. And there was
It- It's
people that would just
it's almost
collect it.
like
Like they had no idea what was even going on.
it was almost like Pokemon Go meets
Hmm.
Lorcana. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that.
because they had a at Epcot. I mean, I'll turn this into an entire Disney podcast. But like at at Epcot for a while, they had a Phineas and Ferb. You would get a fake like mobile phone for Perry the Platypus, and you had to go around Epcot and stop Doofenshmirtz from
Oh
taking
my
over
God.
Epcot.
See, I didn't know that.
Okay,
I didn't know
so
that part.
this one was actually amazing. So the card one was just these like screens, and you would
Yeah.
scan the card and the screen would interact and you'd put this one you could actually trigger animatronics throughout Epcot. So you would get the
Oh,
phone and I forgot the guy's name that runs Perry the Platypus, but like
I know
it
what you
looked
mean.
like an
Yeah.
iPhone, and he would
Yeah.
call you and be like, "Oh, Doofenshmirtz was spotted in Mexico. You need to go down there and take care of him, Perry." And so you
Right,
go to
right.
Mexico and you go trigger the event, and then Doofenshmirtz would pop up inside the Mexico pavilion with
Oh
like
my
a
God.
big laser and be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna destroy this place with my burninator, and then like try to like shoot it, but then you would stop it and then you would get points, and then you would go to the next. So you would go around, and if you got all of them and you triggered all, found them all, because they weren't easy to find. If we found
Yeah.
them and then triggered them all, you would come back to the pavilion at the front and you would get like a prize and a reward for doing it. It was anyways.
I
That
don't
those
remember
little
that,
like weird things
but
like that I love.
yeah. Let's say I love that kind of stuff though. Well,
Mhm.
now I feel like they're starting to integrate it more with the Magic Bands, especially the
Oh yeah.
Magic Band Pluses. So now like you're starting to get a little bit more. You got the bounty thing, which everyone's like, oh, the bounty thing's not that cool. You're right, but it sets up really cool stuff
What
down the
could be
road.
cool,
Like
yeah.
it's a demo. It's clearly a demo for technology that they want to roll out more.
Yeah,
So
my only
I'm excited for it.
concern, if I have one at all,
Yeah.
is that how many of these things have they had that just kind of died, and then like you don't even
That's
know
fair.
about the Perry the
Yeah.
Platypus one, right? And I would argue that was one of the best ones that they had.
Yeah. But that only lasts as long as Phineas and Ferb is popular though.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's what I'm saying is with the Magic Bands, you have the technology there,
Yeah,
and then you can update it as times and whatever's popular, whatever's
yeah.
new, and you can keep updating it with the same kind of groundwork. But
It's really funny. Tim and I were talking about like how we were going to tie this into Thanksgiving before we started this, and I think I just figured it out, Tim. Like I know we're already like 15 minutes or 20 minutes into this episode, but
we're
here's
golden.
what it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
We're like the commentators at the Macy's Day Parade at Thanksgiving Parade,
Yes.
where the floats are going by and we just commentate and like do. So we just saw the Disney one go by.
That's right.
So
That's
now,
right. Yeah.
so then we talk about, so our next float is actually a Cthulhu based float
Ah,
called Iron and Tentacles, which is our
and
new
look at the
RPG
tentacles on that.
podcast.
Yes,
Yeah.
just look at them. Look at them go.
Did you know it took 400 seamstress to sew this tentacle together?
Do you know it took Jay 400 hours to sew this story together,
Yeah.
only for his players to tear it apart in like 3?
Oh man. Yeah, I'm speaking of which, so I wanted to bring this up because I don't know that I've actually properly plugged this.
Yeah.
But we're doing this RPG podcast, and here's where I'd like to, like, for all of you listening right now, to give us a chance. You don't need to know the RPG because
Yes.
we're story driven podcast. It's the
Hmm.
actual play. We're actually playing, but it's
Hmm.
story first, game second. And so, like, I would really like you guys to come check it out. Iron and Tentacles, you can find it on everything.
Yeah.
I'm GMing. We've got Tim, we've got Keegan from Legion 99, we've got Ben from Stabcast, and
Yep.
Evan was on for a while, and then Luisa.
Yes. She's great.
She's great. She is
Like,
really, that was
I
like,
feel bad for her because she's so professional about everything, and she's
oh my
got it like
god.
she just nails it.
Yeah.
Like even the microphone is like the perfect audio
Oh,
levels and
she's
everything like that. And then we're just over here just like talking through a tin can, you know.
so long, so basically Louisa's married to AJ, who writes for us, and he's on That's No Moon podcast out of England. And I just took a chance because she, in passing, she's friends with my wife, and in passing she had said something about how she liked playing role-playing games. And
Yeah.
so I was like, well, it would be really great to have a woman on a podcast or any of the media that we put out.
Yeah.
And so again, and so, I was like, it'd be great to have Louisa on the podcast. So I asked her and she said yes, and I had no idea whether she was going to be good at this, or any of you really. The
Sure.
rest of
Yeah.
you had been on podcasts, so I knew you at least understood the concept of being on a podcast and
No,
what
she's
it
better
took.
than any of us.
She's the best out of all of
Yeah,
us. Yeah, yeah.
that's I
She's
know.
but it's been a ton of fun. We did so Modifius, the game company that does Octune Cthulhu, which is the RPG system that we're playing through. They have all these like small scenarios that you can get. They're like standalone scenarios. And so we did their starter one, which is called A Quick Trip to France, which basically has all the rules in it. You could get it for free off their website and play through it if you wanted to. It has all the rules in it and pre-built characters. So we played through that. And I have a overarching story that's actually going to play into. And then
Yeah.
just recently, I believe this last week, we did our introductory episode with our new characters. Sorry, I'm like, because so basically, everyone, we do not record this weekly like we do the rest of these podcasts. This is one of those great endeavors where we can get 3 or 4 done in one day. And so, like,
Yeah.
we're a month or two ahead of where we're releasing, which is
It's
nice.
so much nicer that way, though.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so starting this week, this Wednesday, the new episode comes out yesterday for if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving. And the team, the players all create new characters because, spoiler alert, something bad happened to their previous characters.
Oh, yeah,
And
not
that
bad,
is
but like
called
something
Keegan.
happened. Something
Keegan
happened.
happened to
Let's.
their
We don't
characters.
like to point fingers and name names like Legion 99, but like in Keegan. But yeah, it was,
So they built all new characters, which, listen, whether or not Keegan was there was the plan, was
I know it was the
a
plan.
version of the plan anyways.
Yeah,
And they're going to a women's baseball game because it's the
yeah.
1940s.
It's World War II. Yeah.
So if you were a fan of League of Their Own, and if you're a fan of Cthulhu and RPGs, this could be a great little stretch for you.
It's a good time. Yeah.
So I still haven't told the team the name. I don't know if any of you guys have searched, because the name
No.
of the scenario gives away what happens. And so, like, I've been, and when it happens.
Sure.
And so, like, I've been really like not telling you guys, like, and I'll tell you after, but it's a scenario that Modifius does. But so basically, a little behind the scenes baseball on this is we recorded a bunch, and then our holiday recording sessions, because it's the holidays, they're kind of scattered. So I had to I'm splitting the group into 2 recording sessions. So this week and next week will be part of the scenario. And then in 2 weeks, we'll start these side sessions where our characters are going to have flashbacks. And then those are all scenarios that I've written. And I have poured an enormous amount of time into these. It is going to be wild. I'm very excited about it. Actually, I'm
looking forward to it.
Mention a little bit, because the first team will be done recording by the time this comes out. But basically, I wrote no less than 12 NPCs with full background stories and everything for this session coming up, which is only going to be like it literally has nothing to do with it, like full on backgrounds, like pages of just like not just their stats, but like
no, like their motivation and like their trials and tribulations and traumas.
My plan is to release my scenarios, because Modifius has this great deal with Drive-Thru RPG where you can release scenarios for their system, and you get a little bit of the money, they get a little bit of the money, but you can release scenarios. So that's my goal, is to eventually release that scenario for other people to play if you like it at home. So
that'd be great. No, it's been really fun, and it's like you said, like you don't really need a whole lot of backstory. It's if you like World War II and you like monsters, there you go.
Yeah,
like that's
and it's good story, right? You don't even if you don't want to play the RPG, just come join us and have fun. Like, please, we'd love the viewership and the listenership. Right now, it's audio only, but next week I'm going to start releasing video, which it'll be actually like 2 or 3 months behind. But for those of you that only listen to this stuff on YouTube or whatever, then you'll have the video version ready. So
you can see our faces contort in pain and disgust and anger, mostly laughter. Mostly. Of like,
mine is
what
when
happened?
Somebody says something like dubious, and like everyone's eyebrow kind of goes up, and they're like, "What's he?" We're in that. We're in that time period where it's like you start saying a sentence, and everyone's like, "Okay, where's this heading?" Especially with me, because I have a no filter. But where's this going, Jay? And then, okay, all right.
that should be noted. It is a adults podcast.
Yes, yeah. It's you all know
cast.
that on here we try to avoid the swears until deeper into the podcast, and even then we keep it to the easy ones. But I almost dropped one of them right early in the podcast.
I know you did.
I mean, I actually have to go back and listen to that to make sure, because I think it kind of came out. So I may do a R2D2 beep boop over that. But so please go check that out. Iron and Tentacles. I'm so proud of it. It's very exciting for me. I love being a GM. I love it so much. I've been really enjoying it. Well, because it allows me to be creative. Where like being a player, there's probably like this much creativity in it, and then it's more of like taking your like inch of creativity and applying it to this world that's been created
and applying it to an improv setting. Really,
right?
It's being creative, but you have to be creative in the moment.
Yes.
And you can make a backstory or whatever, but it's fine. But like when you're a GM, you have to be creative the entire time, not just improv in the moment. Everything's in the moment. The whole moment is your moment.
And so that's been a ton of fun. So there goes our Cthulhu float right down Main Street. What an odd place for Cthulhu. As we see the crowd lose their minds, all failed their sanity checks. Goodbye, everyone.
Just embrace it.
So what's up next on our float agenda? You know what? I think I see a Wookiee.
Tim? I was just going to say, it seems like I see some fur floating in the wind. Oh, yes. I got to try some Wookiee battle forces recently. I've been trying for the past few weeks, really, and different like tinkerings and tailoring and soldiering and spying with it, and trying to figure out like how best to unlock its secrets. Will, my friend Will from Stabcast, is he's moved to Colorado recently, and so he had a lot of success with a weird variation of it, but he put E-stims on his commanders, or on his commander, and he canceled bounty twice with E-stims. So he said he won a couple games through that, which is weird. For those that don't know, just to give the rundown on that, the TLDR is if you get wounds that obviously aren't like crushing amounts of wounds, but just enough to kill you, and you put them on E-stims, when that unit then activates, it takes the wounds from E-stims. And so because technically E-stims dealt the wounds to your commander, not bounty,
yep,
then there is no bounty and bounty is not claimed, which is a weird workaround, but that's how it is written to work. So yeah.
So yeah, and speaking of that, when I did the I want to say we mentioned it on here, or maybe on Scoundrels, but when I put together the Roll Tide CIS list,
yeah, we talked about that.
you know, I have the 8 battle droids with the PK series, and then the AAT battle tank, but I had a T series tactical droid, and I actually had a steam leader and emergency stims on him just because of bounty. So I was like, well, you're not going to bounty him and get points that way, boyos.
Yeah.
Whether I heal him all the way up or E-stims, emergency stims takes that away, will be, you know, that's.
So my version though is not like that. Not yet. Maybe I'll change mine. But I've been really, the big thing that is always a good discussion to have is Into the Fray and recon intel versus tenacity, because it comes out to 6 points either way. And I think so tenacity is great, especially when you lose a body. Like, okay, you're still hitting like basically the same strength. Battle shield Wookiees going running in. But the problem is recon intel normally gets you there faster, and so you're in melee, so you might not lose a guy. Because the problem is this: if you could guarantee that you're only going to lose one model in that battle force, like per unit, then tenacity all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah.
But the problem is because it takes forever to get across the battlefield, you're probably going to lose more than one. And as soon as you lose more than one, you're like, your ROI, for lack of a better term, just plummets. Whereas recon intel gets you there, and then Into the Fray helps you stay there and stay alive, because the surge tokens are so clutch, in my opinion, for those white saves, because otherwise you're just rolling naked white dice and hoping for the best. And even though you have a lot of health, like they still, again, once you start losing models, it really feels bad. But yeah, so I've played it locally. Tournament recently was a little bit different version without the recon intel, and I went like 1 and 2, almost 2 and 1. So close, so close. Came down to a clone commander punching my Wookiee leader in the face and then killing him. And if it hadn't been for that, could have won, but it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think Wookiees are worthy of a good consideration, a good conversation. My biggest gripe with them is actually it's that it can be fairly map dependent.
Okay.
And so therefore, if you don't have I wouldn't say the perfect map, but like a map that's beneficial for you, you can really get in trouble, because then you're like running across a no man's land potentially just to get into melee, and it's rough. But right now my current combo is 4 battle shields with ITF and recon intel, 2 bowcasters with recon intel. All of them are melee Wookiees, so no sharpshooters. And then the Wookiee Chieftain and Chewie, which does dilute your bag a little bit, but having all that health and like they're both good melee threats. Oh, it's good. It's solid. Chewie's fine at long range. The Chieftain can get into melee range no problem because of Agile 1 and Speed 2, and I think they're really dangerous combos. So, and really, unless there's bounty in play, you really don't care if they die, because everybody's courage 2, so it doesn't matter. So, but they've been a lot of fun. I don't know if they're great, but they're good and they're fun.
I think that's all that matters.
Yeah,
good and fun
for some people. for some
people, for this podcast,
right? Yeah,
good and fun. That's our sweet spot.
I do think there's a Fluttercraft conversation to have, but I don't have any Fluttercraft, so I won't have that conversation.
I have some. You can have them.
Oh, no, thanks, bud.
I don't want to put them together.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have them built, and that's why I don't own any, because I don't want to put them together.
Yeah, I don't have the drive to do that. Yeah.
No.
I'm the same. that's the big thing I struggle with, and is putting them together. I
Yeah.
just look at it going, dude, come on. Like,
It takes
I'm
so much
fine with the
time.
painting,
Yeah.
fine with the everything else, but if I could just like hire somebody to like just put all my minis together, I'll do the rest because I don't want to put them together. But the
That's
problem
what I
is no
said.
one likes
Yeah.
that part. So let's
I know. Well, if I pay them enough, they might like it.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. But no, I feel that. I feel that. That's why my pile of shame would be half the size it is if I didn't have to build them all.
Yes.
Because painting them, I got an airbrush, I have spray cans, like I can prime them, base
Yep.
them,
Yep.
detail them, and then you're good. You're battle ready if you want to put it in Warhammer terms. And then, and what's nice is then you can pick up individual units and kind of like, okay, tonight's like, I feel like just having a detailing night. And I'm going to do like all my bowcasters or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I was so like, I was so high on Ewoks, right?
Yes.
I got them all
Yes, you
together.
were.
I got all
Yep.
custom bases. I started painting them, but boy, is that taking forever. Like I'm just like it is a long time. Like I was hoping to have them done for Worlds to do like to do the best painted army, but like I don't even know at this point. It's with the rest of my time in life, so
Yeah, I really enjoy painting the Wookiees. Right now they're pretty hastily painted just so I could differentiate them.
yeah,
But I really want to go back. I have two squads that are painted great, and then the rest are not so much. But I really want to go back and dry brush them and detail them and
yeah,
all that good stuff.
yeah.
You know.
It's a lot.
But Wookiees are fun.
Yeah, good.
Wookiees are fun.
It's
Yeah.
good. I will say that's been the best thing about these battle forces. I remember when they first came out, I was a little like skeptical of them, but
Hmm.
now what I see what they've been doing, and to be fair, Blizzard Force was one of the first ones that came out, right? So like
Yeah.
when that happened, I was like, oh God, what are they doing? Have they lost their minds?
Yeah.
But they've kind of recentered, which hey, listen,
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. Which is kind of going to lead me into my next float, which is talking about
Oh.
game development.
Ooh.
And so I don't know for those of you at home, I don't know how many you know of this, but there is a Dungeons and Dragons game called D&D Onslaught that is out. And I had in Game Trade magazine over the summer, I had a scenario that I developed, that I designed, that came out for it. And then hopefully in 2024, the beginning of the year, I'm going to have a full-blown scenario that's coming out for it.
Ooh. That's cool.
That I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
I can't really talk too detail about it right now, but it's done and completed. All the artwork's been done, and it's going through approval process now and then into print. So yeah,
That's awesome.
which leads me into and I've been doing development work for Stormtide for our narrative campaign, but like the more I've worked on a product like that has like Dungeons and Dragons IP attached to it, like the more I've become like sympathetic to AMG,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and like going through the development process and the design
Hmm.
process has been a ton of fun, and I've loved every minute of it, but it's definitely eye-opening to going, oh, I see how that happened now. Like you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
I have this great idea, and then it goes through three different cycles, and then it
yeah.
goes through IP cycle, and it's like, oh nope, can't do that.
Well, and
Okay.
it's and it's like I think we talked a lot too about like, oh, how do you not know that this happens? But I can tell you very much working on a game that now has what is it? 12, 24, 40, 48 different characters because there's what 12, 10 or 12 for each faction now, like trying to keep all those in mind while I'm like developing a scenario and going, well, this
Yeah.
one obscure character could do this during like I
Yeah.
don't even think about that, right? And then
Yeah.
that comes up during playtesting, right? Which is why playtesting is so important. Is that like, some of our playtesters for the Onslaught stuff were like, oh, hey, what about this character? And you're like, oh, right. I forgot
Oh, I didn't think about that
I
person.
forgot
Yeah.
they could do that.
Oops.
Yeah. So, and then you have to adjust, right? But like, how much does that adjustment tinker with everything else? And how much are you just going, you know what? I'm okay if that one character can do that. Like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't win you the game. It makes your
Right.
life a little bit easier in that particular moment. But like,
Sure.
otherwise, it's fine.
If your IRG are suddenly good again, like, go for it.
Right. And I think, and we're kind of seeing that with the battle forces, right? Where we're seeing things where we're like, oh man, 3 ATSTs, that's crazy broken. But then when you actually get it into situations and you're like, it's not. It's like it's just fine, And I think my thing is Blizzard Force. We can all say Blizzard Force is broken, right? Fine. But what I will say that Worlds showed us is that there were counters to it within the meta, right? That, or within the game, not the meta, but the game. People built counters and brought it down, right?
The top table was not Blizzard,
right,
on either side,
right.
Now both players were excellent, obviously.
Yes.
Like, so there's a skill level that comes into play, obviously, but it's not to say just bring Blizzard and you'll win everything. Like, you still have to know what you're doing.
Well, and I would even argue that some of the top players in the world did bring Blizzard and they still didn't win, right? So it's like, I think that there's a balance that can be found. I think we have so much stuff now for this game that even when something, Dark Troopers, another great example of how, they're broken. And listen, I was part of those conversations, don't get me wrong, but when Kyle's telling you, oh, you effectively need impact 14,
16,
or whatever it was, to get through all of this, mathematically, he was right. But like and I think I've even said this on the Scoundrels, is that, but the players will find the balance and will then tech against it, so then it gets weeded out, right? And then once in a while you'll see a Blizzard or a Dark Trooper pop up and you'll get surprised. Definitely that happened to me at the last tournament in Syracuse. I was just like, somebody had a remnants list and I was just like, oh dude, I've only faced one of these before. All right, here we go. And
remnants kind of sneaky good. I'm just saying. Like, it's the amount of dice that they just throw with all the aims is just, it reminds me a lot of Ion Spiders, where they could just, with 2 aims, they could essentially generate all hits. Or even all crits or something like that.
Which I would argue, I think Ion Spiders have a place right now. Because no one's playing pikes anymore. Or barely anybody is. Sorry. Listen, sir, whoever you are who's about to write me a message or a comment saying,
I still play pikes every day. Every day.
That's not what I meant. I don't know you, and frankly, I don't care if you play pikes. I'm saying is that we don't see them at tournaments, really, at the big tournaments much anymore. Which was what put Ions out of business. The Ion Spiders out of business. So like, I think there's a place for, I actually been playing with let me see if I can load it up here.
I think Ion Spiders are good. I actually think Flamer Spiders right now, with the amount of Ewoks and droids running around, like, I'm okay with Flamer Spiders. Self-destruct is really good. I think spiders are in a pretty cool place.
Let me share my screen for those of you.
Do it.
Oh, I'm gonna do it for Tim and those of you at home.
Thank you.
I'm still playing. This isn't a finalized list.
Of course.
But this is just something.
It's called play to the meta.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's because I was just thinking with all the all the armor and stuff that's out there potentially now, long range is kind of a big deal. And so I'm just playing around with this idea of Kalani. I have 2 naked battle droids right now. I have 2 battle droids with the E5S, which is the long range 4.
Yep.
I have Bosk with Hunter and targeting scopes. I have IG 100, the Magna Guards with the rockets and situational awareness. And then I
Yep.
have 2 of the spiders with attack protocols and the ion blaster. And
Yeah.
I'm at right in 789 right now.
10 acts.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got 10 acts. You got 4 core there for objectives. You got, yeah. I mean, I dig that. Kalani can take some hits normally, so it's not like he's a T series who's going to get punked off the board.
Right.
Um,
And I mean,
yeah.
and you could put some work on him still. There's still plenty of points to like, add
Yeah,
some
you can
stuff in
also,
there.
if your spiders are hanging back behind, you can hide him behind the spider.
Right.
Actually, yes, it is line of sight blocking. I have a picture that measured it. I have it saved just in case anybody ever
Yeah.
asks. But yes.
Well, and I think the interesting thing to me too was you also have 7 activations that are range 4.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Um
Yeah.
and I mean, what are you doing? So you got 12 dice in the ions. You've got another 6 in the magnas. You've got Vasquez with 5. So you have another yeah, so you've got like there's
The only thing I would consider is maybe
30
changing those you could change those E5Ss into repair bots.
Yeah. Maybe.
I love me some repair bots now.
Yeah, no, they've been good, especially with the Magna Guards. But yeah. So
yeah.
And the spiders, yeah. So, but I mean, it's kind of an all-comers list. It kind of handles a lot of stuff at range, and I think you get a lot of good shots in before they come up. And then if you're dealing with a force user or something like that, then the Magna Guards are bodyguards, and
yeah. Oh yeah.
So
no, I dig it. I do.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was kind of playing around with that idea the other day. I thought that was interesting. I just don't have any tournaments for Legion coming up anytime soon. So like I've been just kind of like
Everwinter coming up.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Everwinter.
I forgot.
And PAX.
That's like 2 or 3. I'm not going to PAX, but
sure, but I'm just saying that.
No, I meant for me to like go play like Everwinter. Yeah, that's the next one I have. I can't, dude. Oh my God. So our next float is a toilet because I've been working on my bathroom.
It's a whole bathroom, actually.
Oh my God, dude, I'm so close to the finish line. I got the floor is in. So I don't think I've really told everybody like the full, like I'm not gonna get into crazy detail, but basically what had happened was my wife wanted to paint the bathroom. I was like, I don't give an F.
That's how it starts.
Do whatever you want. Right. Oh, this is every person's story who has to do a remodel is their significant other just wanted to I'm trying to keep that very gender fluid and neutral because
I like redoing bathrooms, so I get it. Yeah,
but
I
like
like doing bathrooms.
So
changing paint colors.
In my situation, my wife decided to paint the bathroom. I said, "Good on you. Do whatever you want." She goes, "Okay, but can you take the splash guard off of the surround for the tub because I want to paint behind there?" And okay, I take it off. We've got mold behind all of that. Not just any old mold, but the black kind, which is the most the worst dangerous kind.
The toxic kind. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure every bathroom, especially in the Northeast or in Florida, probably has, right? Where the humidity is high. So anyways, so it turned into my wife is going to paint the bathroom a new color into I had to demo all the walls down to the wood, the studs in most areas. I had to take up most of the subfloor because that was all had mold on it. So I basically had no floor, no sheetrock. It had, walls like for the shower head. I had to demo all that. I had to pull out all the plumbing for like it was bare bones and I had to rebuild. And this was not a planned assignment where I had like, so I think the first month was like the first couple of weeks was me just, I think it took me a little over 3 or 4 days to demo everything and pull it all out. Then it was probably another couple days to actually get everything to a place where I
Mm-hmm.
could then put in a tub, right? And then it was like, oh my God. And so anyways,
It's everything. Yeah.
and so, and then between all that, I've got one kid he's dual starting to varsity sports. So we've got soccer, football games like every other night. And then my other son is like starring in a play. So like I'm dealing with that too, like that. We've got drive kids around, like, so, plus work and all this stuff, so it's like every little, so finally, I couldn't even tell you when I started this, like maybe September.
It was, I think, longer than that because you've been doing it for a while.
Maybe August. Yeah, you're right. I actually don't know. It's
Yeah.
been that long that I honestly
Yeah.
cannot
I don't
tell you
know.
how long I've been doing this. But like it's just a weekend warrior stuff. And then, when I have nights and weekends when I have so finally this not this weekend, but the weekend before, I finally got all the floor in. And
Mm-hmm.
then we had a wedding for part of this weekend, of course. We came home Saturday evening, so Sunday I finally got all the trim in and
Okay.
started caulking everything, and I've just got to do little paint touch-ups and touch up paint and finish off the trim and put the door on the closet. I built a walk-in closet for my wife. That's what one of the things she wanted in the bathroom. Nice little
Done.
walk-in
There you go.
closet.
Yeah.
I just got to put that door on, finish up the paint, and I'm done. This weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, I'm going to finish this bathroom.
There you go.
But yeah, so that's been, dear Lord. So like all that free time that I would have had to like think about Legion or to go to events or to,
Yeah.
it's not been. And yeah, and I've been doing it
No,
all
that's
myself.
fair.
Like it's
Yeah.
just me doing it because all the kids are busy. So it's like I'd love to have helpers, but
Yeah.
they've got lives of their own now. They're all old enough, and so I'm just in there puttering away, swearing, like every weekend I come out with some sort of injury, and it's just like, oh man. Well, because it's one of
Amazing.
those things when you're like working, especially physical labor work, and you're trying to get it done. Like, I mean, I'm putting 13, 14 hours, on a weekend day
Yeah.
into this bathroom, right? And so like I'm in there till 11 o'clock at night. And so by like the 9, like I always tell myself, like in the middle of the day, I'm like, hey, we're gonna stop at like 8 or 9 today because
No, you're not.
we know that we're mentally not going to be focused. And then so then I go and I'm getting like I like nailed my thumb and had one of those big like blood blisters that I like,
Yep.
and oh my God, and then something fell the other day and I like my knuckles got all messed up and like, it's just like, everybody knows that, right? And
Yeah.
so, but on the other hand, like maybe I could have paid somebody come in and do it, but I know I would have just been nuts. Like at least I know what's going on. Like I hate
Yeah. Yeah.
not knowing what's going on or like just
That's fair.
leaving it up to somebody else and going, I
Yeah.
wonder if they like did that right behind that wall or like I wonder if they did the
Yeah.
plumbing right there. It just,
Right.
and we've talked about this before on this podcast, but instead I know exactly uh how things worked and why they are the way that they are, like
And why I hate them.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah, yeah. But no,
That's fair.
it's been crazy, but thankfully my wife is in love, like, so with me hopefully and the new bathroom. um I had this whole color scheme for her. She's got a little bit of an art background too, but like I'm the artist in the family, so like I had the whole colors. I go, okay, if you want this floor, then this is, we have to paint the cabinets gray and we're going to do an off-white for the walls. And I'm telling you, it's going to look choice and it's going to kind of mix in with some of this because, we didn't want to replace everything because we didn't have to. And so I'm like, it's going to fit in with it. And she went in there Sunday and I got all the white trim up and, there's I got to cover the nails and caulk and stuff still. But like, she was looking at it, she goes, oh my God. Like we were at a hotel for this wedding and she's like, this is even better than the hotel we were just at. She's like, this is so, and I'm like, oh, thank you, sweet baby Jesus. That's what I'm thankful for this
Right.
Thanksgiving is that my wife loves the bathroom that I did. So, because there would be nothing worse than getting to that finish line and having her be like, I don't really like this color.
And that's why we see a toilet float going along our parade route.
Yeah, that's
There
right.
you
That's
go.
our
There
toilet
you
float.
go.
So I think our next and maybe one of our final floats is the Thanksgiving turkey, and I'd like to talk about what we're thankful for.
Yes,
But I'd like to apply it to Legion because I think we could
always.
get all mushy and I could be like, I'm thankful for Tim for doing this podcast with me. But
Uh,
I'm not. So no, just
no,
kidding. So Tim,
I understand.
you got anything in mind or do you want me to go first?
Uh, I have a few things in mind, but
All right.
I think I'm pretty thankful for where the game's at, like in general. So I guess if I had to pick one, I would actually say I'm thankful for balance. Like I don't think we're perfect, and no competitive miniatures game is ever going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But as long as you're trying, as long as you're adjusting and tinkering and changing things, that's fine. And I think as someone who's played this game since it came out, I think we're probably the most balanced point we've been at. And again, there's certainly little things we can nitpick and try and fix and increase, decrease, yada yada. But I think we're pretty balanced. So I'm always thankful for that. I'm thankful that I can bring a list like a bunch of Wookiees and have a chance at winning.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think I honestly I agree with you because the other day I was thinking about the bus again.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I think they're because I have this list idea. I don't want to give it away yet because I don't have it fully formalized, but like formulated and in my head. But like I
Yeah.
have a couple pairings with the AA5 that I'm like, I think this could work. Even
I
in the meta where we're at today, especially with the new
yeah.
clocking rules and
Yeah.
I'm like, I think there might be something here. So I would agree with you. I think there's a lot. You're right. No game is ever perfectly balanced, but damn, is Legion close.
I mean, we were just talking about it for Worlds, right? Like
Yeah.
you can take off quote unquote meta things and even meta. I could go off on a tangent about this, and I know sometimes Kyle
Yeah.
gets mad when I say these things, but like
Well,
meta for this
Kyle's
game
not here. You
is,
say whatever. You're
I know.
free now. You're free, buddy. You
I
say whatever
respect him
you want.
immensely, but we disagree on this.
Yeah.
This meta is quote unquote is so small that even a meta really isn't true. Like this, it's
Yeah.
a few tournaments can get changed in a blink of an eye. Like it's
Yeah.
fine. If a few people technically decide to play some goofy lists a few times in a row, now we have a new meta. Like it's a
Yeah.
very fragile setting for a meta. But anyway, all that to say, I think you can take a off-brand list and do pretty well with it if you
Yeah.
practice.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's enough stuff and combos. Like, I don't even think we've seen everything yet. Like, I
No.
mean,
Oh
last
no.
week, I was shown that Tempest Force list that I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't think anyone's playing the list like that. And I'm like, I think this would be really strong,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
What about you, Jay? What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for, you know what? I'm gonna say, I am thankful for AMG for all the shit that I've talked about them in the past and thought that they were dropping the ball, that I think they're actually doing a fine job at managing the game now and managing the
Yeah.
community, and I think they're doing wonderful. And I think it was probably hard on them, the transition from with everything that happened at Asmodee, with the taking it away from FFG and giving it to AMG, and I know that was tough for them, and I know that we gave them a lot of shit, and because we
Yeah.
were scared that the game was going to die, but
Yeah.
they've done a wonderful job, and yeah, I've been very happy. So
It's still what we're still like. I know we're still in the top 5 minis game.
yep.
I think we were number 2. I think we slipped to number 3 because I think BattleTech came out of nowhere. Now maybe we're 4, something like that.
Yeah.
I know BattleTech came out of nowhere and it was just like bam,
Yeah,
they
well, and
changed some
then
stuff and took over.
yeah, and then the recent one I saw maybe a month or two ago, Onslaught, that Dungeons and
Yeah,
Dragons game that was
Onslaugh's
just
up there.
that's made it into the top. I think it was 6 or something like that, but it's made it
Sure,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
top 10 or close to the top. So
But also all good games, to be clear.
yeah,
So like it's not like
you're not right.
we're
You're not
such an
looking going,
inferior
oh, we
game.
lost to this dumb game, right? No, you're
Yeah,
like,
like
no, I
you're like,
get
oh
it.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
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 like
yeah.
MCP is a beautiful game. I think
Yes.
it's number 2 right now, and I
MCP is
get
a
it.
wonderful game. I
I get it.
love MCP so
I don't
much.
play, but
Yeah,
I get it. Like,
yeah.
yeah. So I feel that. I agree. I'm
Um,
thankful.
yeah, yeah. And then
Oh,
let's see, what else am I? Oh, we could do one
are we doing
more.
multiples? I wasn't ready for multiples.
We don't have to.
Oh
We can
man.
just yeah, no, you know what? We'll save this stuff for like the around the Christmas time one, because I have a
There you
bunch
go.
of like thoughts about like, oh, what do we want to see and all that, but that's a next
Oh
year.
yeah.
That's a
That's
New
perfect.
Year's
Yeah.
episode. So,
That's
but yeah,
a
so
teaser.
I'd like to end our float with Santa Claus, as he ends the Macy's Day Parade, as for some of
Oh,
you
oh,
that may or
oh.
may not know that. And this is just a personal
Spoiler.
anecdote. Um, for Halloween this year, my wife and I went as Mrs. and Mr. Claus. And we went to a Halloween party, but then we also trick-or-treated. And we were so good at Mrs. and Mrs. Claus that my wife's boss asked her if we wanted to do them at the kids party for her work.
Oh, that's so
So
nice.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm going to be Santa Claus. So I'm very excited about
Santa
that.
J.
I've been
Yeah.
getting my beard going. I got a diet white, but like you got
You'll
a
get
great
there.
Santa
You'll
beard.
get
Yeah.
there.
Well, you know what happens? It's the same thing with my hair. I haven't had long hair since I was young, because
Yeah.
it gets to a point and I just go, like, my hair's, look, fully there. I don't have,
Yeah.
I'm not bald. I don't have any issues. My hair looks
Hmm.
good. I just get to a point where I'm like, no, no, like COVID, I think, was the
I
last
get that.
time my hair was like kind of
Yeah.
long, and I couldn't even stand it through that I had to like make it happen
I know.
during COVID. I was like, no, 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 no. I got to find somebody that's going to cut this.
You said that and made me think there was one time my wife and I were out eating like in the middle of the summer, and this gentleman across the way from me who looked a lot like a Santa.
Yeah.
Like I was laughing about something and he came over and he like shook my hand and he's like, "Hey, I just need you to know that you're gonna make a great Santa one day." And I was like, "Oh, like, well, thank you, kind sir. Like, it's so nice of you. What makes you say that?" He's like, he goes, "I'm Santa. And I do this all the time, like all year round. I go to hospitals, I go to kids' parties, I go to the
Yeah.
malls and like all that stuff." He's like, "And I love doing it." He said, "You have a great smile." He said, "Your beard's going to turn silver and you're going to make a great Santa." I was like, so in my mind, I've been anointed by an
Nice.
official Santa, and one day I'll take my
I've
place. I'll learn some tips and pointers from you. So
Yeah, I
you
was
tell me all
not
the lessons.
anointed by official Santa, but I will say, when we were trick-or-treating, which was strange for me a little bit here, was, I mean, I don't know that I've, like, our kids are all older. My youngest is 13, right? So it's been a while since we've had that, like, oh my God, it's Santa, like, and so when we were walking around, like, we live in a nice little town and we know a lot of the people, but like it was like strange children were coming up to me and like hugging my leg and stuff, and I was like, oh God, oh God, oh God, I don't know you, this, we shouldn't be doing that, what like that like moment where I was like, no, 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 please don't do that. But that was
CPS
like,
pops out of a present.
yeah,
Yeah, we got him,
yeah,
everybody.
but
We
then
got
I
him.
remembered I was Santa and that their parents were right there, and I,
That's
like that,
fair.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that. Oh God. But yeah, so I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome.
I went to the Santa Claus, there's a college for Santas.
Yes, there is.
So I went to their website and they have a blog, and like the leader of the college had like tips, like the top
Yeah,
10 tips for being Santa at like your office party or whatever. And so I've been reading through those, and they're pretty good. So yeah,
no,
so
it's
I will
awesome.
be representing Santa Claus this year. So that's,
Congrats.
yeah.
That's cool. You've been promoted. There you
Hey,
go.
it's interesting. I'm trying to get it's I'm getting the gray. You can see the gray in the beard just
You're getting there.
naturally, but I'm gonna have to, bring the rest of it into.
Just do some more reno on some more bathrooms, and you'll get all the gray in.
Oh, dude,
that's it.
Yeah. One more thing happens at this house. Like our dryer went. Did I tell you this too? The dryer broke the other weekend.
Let it go.
And I was gonna order. I like ordered parts, and I'm like, at one point, I like slammed my finger into something in the bathroom, and I just like chucked a tool out of the bathroom and started screaming. And it was like, just put somebody in. I can't do everything around here. I'm gonna lose it. And so we just called like a repairman. And it was a lot less than I thought it was going to be. So
yeah,
that's hot tip. If your dryer breaks and you don't really have the time or the wherewithal to do it yourself, it was only like $70. So
that's nothing.
It was like fine. Nothing. So I mean, it's not nothing, but you know, it was compared to what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't that bad. So all right, so cool. Let's end on a happy note.
Nice.
For those of you in the US who are celebrating Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy spending time with your family if that's what you like. If you don't like spending time with your family, I'm so sorry that you have to. And Friday, you know what? Friday will come and you'll be able to make turkey sandwiches, which I think is the best part about Thanksgiving. I'll give you my recipe. You have 2 white pieces of white bread. I don't care what kind, Wonder Bread, whatever you do. The cheaper, the better. I find that's the same with barbecue. And so, the cheaper bread, brisket, unlike Wonder Bread is. And so you get your Wonder Bread, you put your turkey on there, you get a layer of mayo on there, some lettuce, cranberry sauce. You put that on there. If you want, depending on where you land, my wife, I was never a stuffing person as a kid, ever. My wife makes the best stuffing in the whole world. And so I put a little layer of stuffing on there. Oh my God.
It's gotta be a thin layer of stuffing though.
Yeah. No, you can't go deep because then it's too much bread. No, it's just a thin. So she does this stuffing that's like got sausage in it. Oh my dude, it is.
That's what my wife does too.
It is primo. So anyways, that's Jay Schlansky's Thanksgiving sandwich. I'll live off of those for like 2, 3, 4 days, depending on how big the turkey was and how much we all ate. But like my wife like, hey, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, turkey sandwich. And she's like, oh God. So anyways, so
my only advice is deep fry your turkey. It tastes amazing.
Oh yeah. No, she's got this whole thing with a bag, and she does an amazing job. So I don't want to. I've thought about that and I've heard that from people, but she's got such a great thing going. Good. I don't even want to mess with her on it. So it's just like, you know what, she's got it down. Though I will say a couple years ago, so normally, like most people, we get our turkey from the store, and like this year, one of the grocery stores was doing this thing where if you bought $50 in groceries, you got a free turkey. So we got like 4 turkeys because listen, I have 4 grown men beside myself that eat here, and eat us out of house and home. So any free turkeys I can get, we're taking. But anyways, so we got like 4 turkeys, but they're like 20 pounds or something. But a couple of years ago, we bought a turkey from a local farm where we get some of our other meats, and it was like 38 pounds, dude. It didn't even it barely fit in our oven. Like I had to like take every rack out and make like a makeshift thing at the bottom. We couldn't find a pan that it would fit in. There's a picture. I'll have to, maybe if I could find it when I do this episode for YouTube, I'll put it on here. There's a picture of me holding the turkey. It is as big as like my mid, like from my like belly button to like my neck. It's that big, and I'm like holding it like it was wild. And we swore we would never do that again because it was like we couldn't even fit, like we didn't even know if it was done. Like there was a lot of problems. Like
all that work for the devil's meat.
We woke up at 3 a.m. to like put that in at 3:30 so that it would be done for dinner, because it's like however many hours per pound. You know what I mean? It was
right. Yeah, wild. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So anyways.
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. And for those of you that have no idea what the hell we're talking about, I'm going to put some graphics and stuff on here. So I hope this is fun, at least for you to watch, and you enjoyed it anyways. So
true.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Tim. You're the best.
Bye. Gobble on.
Join us next week for another edition of the Fifth Trooper podcast.
This has been a Fifth Trooper production.